travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
30%. 30%. That's the tariff that US President Donald Trump has imposed on South African exports to the US, which will come into effect from the 1st of August. And we are not allowed as South Africa to retaliate. In fact, the US says if we dare retaliate and increase tariffs on American imports in response to this announcement, then the US would raise tariffs from this initial 30% by the same amount that South Africa increases its tariffs. I mean, some key SA exports to the US, like precious metals, like gold and platinum, my understanding is that they were placed on a list of products that are exempt from the tariffs package. But anyway, there's a whole debate about how this 30% was calculated by the US. The US says it calculated the percentage by examining the trade deficit between other countries and the US, which is a contested interpretation because our government maintains that the 30% reciprocal tariff is not an accurate representation of available trade data. So based on available trade data, for instance, the average tariff imported goods entering South Africa stands at 7.6%, just on average. 56% of goods enter South Africa at 0% most favored nation tariff. And guess what? 77% of US goods entering the South African market under the 0% duty are there. So the US benefits from this most favored nation tariff because you've got 77% of US goods that enter the South African market under that 0% duty. So where does the US get this 30% deficit? Anyway, our government continues to engage with the US, but whether these engagements will bear any fruit is another question. Now, on Sunday, Donald Trump doubles down and threatens to impose a further 10% tariff on all countries that are aligned with BRICS. So any country that aligns itself with BRICS, Trump says, you're going to get a 30% tariff, a 10% tariff. So on top of the 30% tariff that has been imposed, we would get another 10% for aligning with BRICS. Our president just yesterday was at a BRICS summit in Brazil. So what do we do? If this is not bullying, what is it? We have a country that's choosing friends for us. A country that's choosing who we must align with. President Trump says BRICS is anti-American policies. That's why he threatens this 10% tariff on countries that align with BRICS. So that's clearly going to be us. It's clearly going to be Brazil. It's clearly going to be India. It's clearly going to be China. Clearly going to be Russia. Clearly going to be the new ones that joined. Was it Ethiopia? Yeah? Saudi Arabia? What are we willing to compromise? Should South Africa stand its ground and continue being part of BRICS and take whatever financial or economic circumstance that come with that? Or do we put the country first and consider not aligning and put our eggs in the one US basket? Under such an erratic president who can change his mind about us any day. What do you think should be our response here? BRICS nations now represent more than half of the world's population. 40% of its economic output. That's what it represents. 40% of the world's economic output. This is the best shot the world has at pushing for developing nations to also be taken seriously. But also, this is the best shot at pushing for the reform of global institutions like the United Nations Security Council and the IMF. And now we are warned against aligning with this grouping. And to show you that it's going to be impactful, clearly or seemingly, that's why Donald Trump, the president of the US, is threatened by it. That's why now he's threatening 10% tariffs on countries that are going to align with BRICS, because he can see the kind of changes that this grouping will bring about. So what do you think our position should be as South Africa? The US is our second largest export market, accounting for almost a tenth of total exports leaving the country. So these tariffs are concerning, especially because for the last 2 decades or so, we enjoyed duty-free access to the US market through AGOA. So these exports are now expected to face higher tariffs. In fact, I saw yesterday in a statement, President Cyril Ramaphosa was urging South African businesses to accelerate their diversification efforts in order to promote better resilience in the global supply chain. So are you a businessman that's going to be affected by these tariffs? Are you worried about these tariffs at all? Maybe you are in the wine sector, the agricultural sector. How is your company preparing for this? How do you respond so that you can stay afloat? How are you going to diversify and build this resilience that the president speaks of? Because come the 1st of August, it's not looking good for us.